What is going on, everyone? Tim from Tierfon Orbital. So today I would like to talk about the Convergence. The Convergence hilt is something that I did in tandem with Jeremy over at Sabers. We are super proud of this hilt. This whole experience has been really awesome to do this with a friend of mine, somebody who is also very talented. So I want to talk about the hilt. I want to talk about the chassis. We are going to take a look at the chassis. I have a prototype here that I have installed. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and then we will do a demo, right? So unfortunately, when we did a little bit of a live stream regarding this hilt, there were some technical issues with somebody's mic. Who knows whose microphone it was, but that doesn't matter, right? So I do want to talk about the process of this hilt and designing this hilt. This was something that was it was seamless doing this with Jeremy, right? There are touches of both of our design aesthetic in this hilt, as well as the install, right? Jeremy designed the crystal chamber, the exposed crystal chamber upgrade for this, and I designed the majority of the chassis for it, right? But this was something that, and you know, in my opinion, I think this was a long time coming, right? I've gotten to know Jeremy pretty well over the past couple of years, and he has become a very close friend of mine, very good friend of mine. And I think that doing something together like this, like I said, it was a long time coming, right? Teaming up and doing something that, you know, we can create, that we can bring to market and bring to folks. Is something that, you know, I'd wanted to do for a long time, right? The process with this was seamless, right? Jeremy and I are both type A personality. I can be very stubborn. I like things the way that I like them, but doing this was seamless. And we just kind of started with a relatively blank canvas. Jeremy had designed the grip. And then we went from there, right? We, you know, thought about what we want in a hilt, what we like to have in a hilt, and then we went about designing it, right? So I would add a few things to the hilt, and then I would kick the model back over to Jeremy and say, what do you think about this? And then Jeremy would make some changes and say, hey, well, we should probably do this. And then he would kick it back to me, and we just kind of batted it around back and forth a couple of times until we found a design that we really liked, right? So that whole process was seamless, right? We didn't butt heads or anything when it came to the hilt design or the chassis design about, you know, what we wanted to offer people as far as, you know, the internal electronics and reveal is concerned, right? So the process was awesome. It was just a great, seamless experience, one that I had a lot of fun doing, and I hope that we have an opportunity to do this more, right? So anyhow, I'm going to come into Fusion. I've got the hilt model here in Fusion. I've got the chassis and the crystal chamber reveal model. So I want to talk about all of that. I want to show off what Jeremy designed and what I designed as well. So with all of that out of the way, let's come into Fusion. Okay, so let's start off with, well, obviously, so here's the hilt, right? This is the full assembly of the hilt. I'm not seeing, there it is. The full assembly of the hilt. Let me get the grip on here. Actually, I don't need the grip. We don't need it. Well, sorry. Let me put the grip in here because the grip was done by Jeremy as well, and I want to show that off. Okay. So here it is, right? The Convergence. This thing, I'm so proud of this hilt, right? So I'm going to start at the bottom and make my way up, right? This pommel, I designed this pommel. I wanted to do something really different as far as the pommel is concerned, right? Obviously, we see circular pommels everywhere, and that's you know, usually what we get. I wanted to do something different, and I knew that I also wanted a two-tone hilt. Like, I wanted brass and aluminum. I always like seeing brass and aluminum. I think it gives the hilt a unique look and a good contrast, right? So in the pommel, not your like average just circular pommel. This is kind of oblong, right? There is a brass insert down here. This is full brass, this pommel cap. And then I also wanted to do like a greebly accent down here just to kind of break up the profile of the hilt a little bit. So this is also brass, and it is just screwed into place, right? Designing this was a little bit tricky for me because obviously you want this whole pommel to rotate right? So you've got to take into account threading. You've got to take into account clearance, right? That was a little bit of an interesting, this was new for me. This whole pommel design was totally new. But I'm really, really happy with the way that that came out, okay? The grip, this is one of Jeremy's grips. And I really, really love this grip. Jeremy actually designed a number of grips for the hilt, and we mocked a few up, and I liked this one. I liked all of them, but I actually preferred this one because you break up, again, you're breaking up that profile of the hilt by having this different texture in here. So this is an inner knurled sleeve. Okay, let's get this. So there's like an inner knurled sleeve that slides inside of the outer sleeve. And I just really, really, really love the look of that. It gives the grip a really nice feel. So it's just a super, super unique look. I love the way that this grip came out, okay? So the whole grip threads, so the pommel on threads, excuse me, the grip on threads. So everything's modular. Let's talk about this Canon Y replica. All right, so this is Jeremy's Canon Y switch box. He designed this. He puts this on. He's put this on his past two hilts, the Coda and the Scrap Tech. Jeremy did an awesome design with this Canon Y control box. Not only does it look good, right, but it's perfectly functional. It's easy to install on. There's room underneath this for two tactile switches. It's just a super, super solid design, right? I added a brass accent onto this just to make it look a little bit more unique, all right? And then there, of course, we have a Canon Y. This is actually a Canon X replica that I designed and we had put on the hilt. All right, I just cut out a section here that we could, have access to view that inner crystal chamber. We'll get a look at that crystal chamber in a second here. But I designed this and I put Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on it, not thinking that it would come out in the final actual physical product, but to my surprise, they actually laser etched all of this into the part, so you can actually see it's pretty small, but you can see it in the Canon Y or Canon X replica, which I thought was really cool. And then I've got my serial number here, flash unit main on the other side. I tried to keep it true to a Canon X without directly copying it, but obviously, that is a Canon X sleeve assembly. Okay. Inside of here, there will be a regular crystal reveal chamber. It's just a very, basic crystal reveal chamber. However, Jeremy designed one that is special to the hilt. So if you purchase the upgrade chassis for this hilt, you will get this crystal chamber. And again, this is just something that I can tell this is Jeremy's design. I talked about this before. I really, really love that Jeremy is settling into his design aesthetic when it comes to this stuff. And this looks really, really gnarly. I love these gates that are in front of the crystal. I love that he actually designs functional holders for the crystal itself. We've got a lot of awesome tube work in here. This stuff is not easy to do. It's not easy to design this stuff, okay? So this came out really, really awesome. So this whole module will slide in here for a crystal reveal, okay? Making our way up, Jeremy designed the shroud, which is super, super gnarly. I love the way that this shroud looks. I think it goes perfectly with the hilt, okay? He also designed the upper emitter. Let me get rid of this shroud really quick. Jeremy also designed the upper emitter holder. I just made some slight changes in that I added these brass rods, okay? And then I added these holes here. Now, these holes I added so we could get a little bit of shine through underneath the shroud. I wanted to get some light coming out from underneath here just to make it look a little bit more unique, right? So that's what those holes are for in the upper emitter section, okay? And then around back, we've got a knurled red thumb screw. This will serve as blade retention in the final design, okay? But that's it as far as the outside of the hilt is concerned. I love the profile of this thing. It looks really, 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 really good. So happy with how that came out, okay? So let's take a quick look at the chassis as well. Let me get rid of these sleeves and this grip, okay? So here is the chassis. Really, really like how this chassis came out. So I wanted to have an extra reveal in this chassis, but I didn't want to do like a secondary crystal. I wanted to do something a little bit different, have some engine-esque compartments in the reveal section at the bottom of the chassis. So I knew that I wanted a full-size battery in this. So we've got an 18650 battery here, 28 millimeter speaker. I did do some light greebly work on each side of the chassis. This is a Profi chassis, right? So the Profi board will slide up underneath these lips, or this lip, and then it will tuck underneath these two forks here to help this Profi board secure into place. And then here is the upper reveal. Really, really like how this one came out. This is kind of where I've been taking some of my design aesthetic more along the lines of like a engine compartment look with like a lot of tubes and rivets. But I really like how this came out, and we've got two rectangular LEDs in this one as well. Okay, and this looks really, really great weathered. And I actually weathered the install that I did on this one. Okay, but that's it. That is the Convergence from Tierfon Orbital and Solo Sabers. Let's come up top. All right, so here it is, the Convergence from Solo Sabers, Tierfon Orbital. All right, so this thing is awesome. I'm so happy. So it's, you know, another thing that I didn't mention about this whole process was the feeling that I got when I finally got this hilt. This hilt was stuck in customs for nearly a month, actually over a month. But actually seeing this and holding it in hand was such a beautiful experience. This has been a dream of mine, to design something and bring it to fruition and bring it to life. And this has been, you know, this has kind of been a dream of mine since I started installing, since I got into the Saber game. Doing something like this to this caliber is something that I have always wanted to do. You know, I've made hilts. I make hilts with you know, custom Saber shop parts and scrap and all that. But to actually go through the whole design process, make something from scratch, have it machined, have it manufactured, is something that I have always wanted to do. And this is just such a great, it's been a great experience. And the fact that I get to do it with a really good friend of mine made it all the better, right? But this, you know, I'm just so happy with how this guy came out, right? It just looks so good. So I weathered this guy, obviously. I did a usual, you know, aluminum black on this. Weathered the whole thing. All of the brass has been weathered. I did put some nicks and gouges in the emitter up top here. But to my surprise, I actually expected this to come to me in bare aluminum, which it did. However, I also got one that was anodized. Personally, I like that it's black, but I don't like it shiny. So me being me, because I do things difficult, I took the bare aluminum one, I stripped back the clear anodization on it, and then I went back and I aluminum blacked it because I wanted them to be matte. I wanted this to be matte in here. So that's the only modification that I made to this one, just because I didn't want it to be too shiny. There was probably an easier way to do that, but that's just the way that I did this one, right? So that's why this looks a little bit matte in here. But I really love the way that grip feels with the knurling section on the inside here. It's just such a great feeling hilt. The profile, the thinness of it is perfect too. It's perfect for my hand, okay? And then of course here is our crystal chamber, exposed crystal chamber. Now this has got Jeremy's chamber in it. Okay, I weathered that. Here is that Canon X replica. You can just barely make out flash unit here. And then on the other side, you can just barely make out that serial number in Philadelphia. On the side there, I was very pleasantly surprised that they put that on there. Okay. Everything else has been weathered. Now, this is a prototype. Keep that in mind. Okay, so there are some things that are going to be changed on the final version. Mainly just some of the clocking will be changed. These brass rods are going to be a little bit more tweaked and finalized. And I believe that's it, right? Just some of the clocking is going to be tweaked a little bit, and then those brass rods. Okay, but other than that, this came to me perfect in the way that like I envisioned it, or that we envisioned it. Okay, so let's get a look at this chassis. Okay, so here is the chassis. I have weathered the chassis all brass. There's polished brass that's been weathered, and then the main body of the chassis has been done in MJF nylon. Profi board is here. Battery tray. Oops. Battery tray. And that's it, right? So obviously I already had a battery in this. There are those two rectangular LEDs for some accent up top there. And then of course there's that lit crystal chamber. That crystal looks so good. That's actually a real quartz. I put a real quartz in here. Okay. Lit from below with one single neopixel. And then there is our emitter. Alright. I guess I didn't put twist activate on this one. So we're going to come down to the bottom and get a closer look at that chassis. Alright, so here it is. The Convergence. Fully installed. I really love the way. So like that right there. That profile. It looks so good to me. It's just such a good looking hilt. I wonder why I didn't put twist to activate on this. Usually I put that on my configs. Right. There's that crystal chamber. I'm going to put the grip back on here. Okay. Yeah, I wonder why I didn't put twist to activate. Usually I put that on all my configs. So there's that crystal chamber. Beautiful crystal chamber that was designed by Jeremy. My camera will focus. There we go. Yeah, one of the other important things about this hilt was sound. We wanted to make sure we had great sound resonance in here, and we wanted to obviously make sure that we get a 28mm speaker, and this hilt sounds great. So yeah, really, really happy with how the weathering came out. Shroud looks dope up there. Control box. I don't know that this Philadelphia is going to come out. Probably not. Yeah. I was surprised that they put that on there. That they were able to etch that on there. So let's put a blade in it. Okay, 7/8 inch blade holder. That was something that we both wanted as well for this hilt. So this is going to serve as blade retention, right? I've got my blade in there, and we are ready to go. That sounds so good. I love the way this grip feels too. Okay. Let's see what else we got on here. I think I've got. So our buddy, K Sith,
Convergence
did a custom font for this run as well. K Sith is well known in the community for doing really, really great premium fonts, and he did a font for us. So what I did with the blade style for this font was this is a combination of both of Jeremy. This is not going to come out on camera. It's a combination of both Jeremy and myself's logo. So Jeremy's logo is mainly red, and mine is blue. So red and blue make a little bit of a purple blade. I didn't want it to be too purple, so this is a combination of both of our colors. The crystal I have programmed to oscillate between blue and red, for both of our colors. Okay. But yeah, Convergence sounds awesome. Great font. I really don't know why I didn't put twist to activate on here. It feels great. It's really well balanced.
My little green friend.
Okay. Let's do one more.
Lord Vader, I'm Luke Scott. Meet Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Great sounding hilt.
Convergence.
And there's Convergence. Okay. So, that's it. That's the Convergence from Tierfon Orbital and Solo Sabers. This thing is great. I'm really, really happy with how it came out, right? So this is the prototype, as I mentioned. We are expecting the final versions to be shipping sometime within the next few weeks, okay? Keep an eye, if you are interested in picking up one of these hilts, first of all, we would be grateful for those of you who, first of all, we're grateful for those of you who have already signed up for the hilt. If anyone else is interested, you can reach either myself or Jeremy via our Facebook pages, or you can email me or contact me on my website or Jeremy's website, whichever is easier. We still have a few of these left, but we are expecting them to be shipping in the next few weeks, right? So that's all I got. I just wanted to take some time to talk about the hilt a little bit more in depth. I wanted to talk about how the process went, as far as like what both of us wanted to achieve and what both of us worked on. But this whole experience was just so awesome. It was just so great to work on something with a friend and bring it to life, right? So it continues to be an awesome process, right? So anyhow, that's all I got, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Have a good one, everybody.